Okay, almost time for lunch here, but I'm going to take you through 4.2. Imagine you're a manufacturer of inflatable rubber ducks. The manufacture of ducks involves damaging water pollution. You've computed that your marginal savings in millions of dollars from emitting pollution is linear. So your marginal benefit of emissions is 10 minus E. How much money does it cost you to obey the regulation rather than emit as much as you want? So we could set up an integral, or we could just plot a graph. Okay. Or we could do both. So what are the marginal benefits as a function of emissions? It's this, isn't it? And you're told that you can only emit 2 tons. And the question is, how much does it cost you to obey the regulation? So what are the costs? It's this, isn't it? So it's 8 times 8 divided by 2. It's 32, isn't it? Oh, not just, yeah. And again, I don't think we're given any units. We really should have like monetary units, etc. here. Let me just check my crib sheet. Okay, here it says $1 million. Oh yeah, we have got units. It's $1 million. Okay. And as I said, you could set up a kind of savings function and integrate it and then do it between the limits and you get the same result. I'm going to leave that as an exercise for you guys. The ministry has just instituted a program whereby it will audit you with probability of 1%. If you're found in violation, you must pay a fine of 10 million bucks per ton of emission in excess of the limit. How much do you emit? Okay, so as usual, this is an exercise in setting up and solving a profit maximization problem. So, what are your expected benefits? They are. So now we do need to do the integration anyway. So total benefits integrating this, it's 10e minus e squared over 2, isn't it? So expected total benefits are 10e minus e squared over 2. But then there's a risk of getting caught, isn't there? So it's minus p times whatever you're caught out doing, which is, and times the fine. So it's 10 million p times 10 times your emissions in excess of the limit which is 2. Okay. And of course, you could set this up as probably as some kind of Lagrangian or whatever, with a multiplier depending on which is going to take the value 0 or non-zero depending on whether you actually break the limit or not. I'm just going to set this up assuming that you're breaking the limit, but we really need to bear that in mind the whole time. And then we need to check that against the option of not breaking the limit. So that is assuming that we're cheating. This is the problem. Assuming that e is greater than 2. So then the first order condition gives us 10 minus e equals 10p, isn't it? Oh, and p is just 0.01, so 10 over 100. Ooh. Is this right? So then at this rate, E is going to be 9.9. Let me check my crib sheet. Okay, that was right. So basically, given this very low probability of being checked, you really aren't going to bother abating very much at all. And if you raise p to 10% instead, it's still pathetic, isn't it? Then you're going to be emitting 9. So this is B and this is C. So what's the problem here? Let me have a think about that. Okay, what's the problem here? Well, actually, we don't know if there's a problem or not, do we? Because we don't know what optimal abatement is. So maybe this is optimal. We really don't know. So we need to do a bit more work. So and I guess that's going to be in the next part of the question, which we'll come to in just a second. Okay, no, we're not going to come to that, because all we've got to do is part D, which says consider a fixed fine instead of the variable fine. So given a fixed fine, the firm is either going to abate nothing or abate perfectly. Okay, because why would it deviate only slightly, taking on abatement costs and then still have to pay the same fine if it's caught? It's either going to be, if it's checked, because if we're assuming if it's checked, it'll be caught, you see. Okay. So, what's the firm's problem then? It's basically, what do we need to do? We're looking at the corners, aren't we? We've just got corners. So, if the firm doesn't abate at all, then its expected benefits are 10e. So we've just got the corners. So if it doesn't abate at all, its expected costs are P times K, aren't they? Have I got my notation right here? I think so. If it abates fully, then its costs are known, and the abatement it needs to do is 8, isn't it? So it's 10 times 8 8 squared over 2, which is 80 minus 32, it's 68. No, 80 minus 32 is 48. So I get that the fine would need to be 48, but in my crib sheet it says 32, so I need to have a think here. Okay, sorry, I got it. This is wrong, isn't it? We already worked out the cost of reducing from 10 to 2. It's this area. This is totally wrong. Because what we want is the difference between emitting 10 and emitting 2. Here, this was the benefit of emitting 8, which is something totally different. So we already worked out 32. So the firm defined so the expected fine needs to be 32 million dollars, doesn't it? Let me just check the question again. Yeah. So PK needs to be $32 million. So if P is still 0.01, you need a very big fine. Okay. And that is the end of question 4.2.